Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be doing a little trigonometry review. All right, this is a lot of stuff that you guys have already used in geometry and Algebra 1. So just make sure you have your notes out and get all this down for me, please. All right, what is trigonometry in general? It is the Greek word for measurement of triangles, and we're going to focus on right triangles, and we're going to be talking about sine, cosine, and tangent. Alright, this is the first thing that I need you guys to have written down, please. We're going to talk about the three basic trig ratios: sine, cosine, and tangent. Now, sine is the opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So when I write this in general, I'm going to write sine of an angle equals O over H to shorten that up. For cosine, it'll be cosine of an angle equals A over H, and tangent of an angle equals O over A. Now, one way to remember this if you're getting stuck, I like to write it as SOHCAHTOA. So S-O over H, C-A over H, and T-O over A. SOHCAHTOA. Right? And the value, this is the value of a trig ratio, depends only on the measure of the acute angle on a particular right triangle used to compute the value. So make sure you please get every single thing on this slide down. Alright. Now we're going to move on to how we think we're going to set up each one of these if we are given these problems. So if I have to find the sine of angle A, what I'm going to do here is come to angle A. Here it is, and I'm going to label on my side, so straight across, this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. So we know that sine is opposite over adjacent, so this one's going to be opposite over hypotenuse, so 5 over 13. Cosine of angle A, so we're using the same angle, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, so our adjacent is 12, and our hypotenuse is 13, so that's how that'd be set up. And last one on angle A is tangent of angle A, which is opposite over adjacent. So ours is going to be 5 over 12. Now we're going to answer these bottom three. We have sine, cosine, and tangent. So we have of angle B. So now we're looking at angle B, and now this is the opposite. This is the adjacent, but this is still the hypotenuse. So if I do sine opposite over hypotenuse, I'm going to get 12 over 13. Cosine of B is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's going to be 5 over 13. And the last one is tangent of B, which is opposite over adjacent. So I'm going to have 12 over 5. Alright, so just some basic setups of what it's going to look like when we're using sine, cosine, and tangent, or SOHCAHTOA. Now I need to make sure you have your calculator up, because all we're going to do is check this in your calculator. So you're going to type in sine of 45 in your calculator, and you're going to push enter. You should get 0.7071. If you don't, you need to change your calculator mode to degrees. Alright, when you type in tangent of 45, you should just get 1. And when you type in cosine of 30, you're going to get 0.8660. So if you don't get all three of these answers, make sure you are checking your mode on your calculator and it's in degree mode. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have the basics down, we're going to go over 5 examples and then we'll be done for the day. This is example 1. It needs to be written in your notes, please. So we are solving this for x. So this is the angle we are given. And we're going to label what we know. We know this is the opposite and this is the adjacent. Those are the two things we're giving. So using opposite adjacent, we know we're going to use tangent. So when we're talking about tangent, we're talking about the angle 24. So that's my angle. Tangent 24 equals opposite over adjacent. So I have x over 15. Now I just need to solve this for x. So this means to divide. Opposite of division is multiplication. Right here, I'm going to go, and on your calculator, you're going to type in 15 times the tangent of 24. And you should get 6.68, which equals x. Okay, that's all the work you need to show. That's what your answer should be for x. All right, moving on to example number 2. Here we have this. First thing, find your angle, label what you know. So this is my angle. I know the hypotenuse, and I know the adjacent. So with hypotenuse and adjacent, we're going to use cosine. So I have cosine of my angle, which is 42 degrees, equals adjacent over hypotenuse, so x over 18. Once I have my problem set up, I can go about solving it. So opposite of dividing by 18 is multiplying by 18 on both sides. These will cancel. And in my calculator, I'll type in 18 times cosine of 42, and I should get 13.38. That is my value of x. All right, moving on to example number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. First thing, find your angle, label what you know. Here's my right angle. So I know this angle, I know my opposite, and I know my hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So I have the sine of my angle degree, which is 16, equals opposite 7 over the hypotenuse, which is x. So same as before, get rid of division. This time I have the x on the bottom, so I multiply both sides by x. Those cancel. This I can't type in my calculator, so I'm going to rewrite it as x times the sine of 16 equals 7. Now to get x by itself, we're going to divide both sides by sine of 16. Those will cancel, and x equals, you're going to type in 7 divided by the sine of 16, and you should get 25.40. Right, that should be our answer for example number 3. All right, 2 examples left, ladies and gentlemen. Here's our next one. This one I have to find x and y, so I'm going to have 2 different answers. So first thing, set up what I know. Here's my angle that is given to me. So this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. So I'm going to solve for x first. So I'm going to use my opposite, and I'm going to use what they give me, my adjacent. So opposite and adjacent is tangent. So I have the tangent of 48 degrees equals x all over 8. So I'm going to solve this for x, multiply both sides by 8. Type those cancel over here. So 8 times the tangent of 48, I'm going to get 8.88. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be my answer. Now I have to solve for my y, so I'm going to use the hypotenuse, and I'm going to use the one given to me, which is adjacent. So adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine, so I have the cosine of 48 equals 8 over y. To solve for y, I need to multiply both sides by y first. Those cancel. I get y times the cosine of 48 equals 8. Divide both sides, so I want to get y by itself, by the cosine of 48. Those cancel, and y is going to equal 11.96. So I have found both my x and y. Now if you wanted to go back and check this, you could use Pythagorean theorem. You could take 8 squared plus 8.88 squared equals 11.96 squared, and they should be equal to each other because we're working with right angles. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last example for the day. What is the height of this building? So we're looking for the height, so we know it's a right angle. We set this up. We know this angle. We know the height is our opposite, and we know adjacent. Well, opposite and adjacent, so when we're going to have that works there is tangent. So I have the tangent of 54 equals h over 60. Solve this one. I'm going to multiply both sides by 60. That's going to cancel. 60 times the tangent of 54 is 82.58, which equals my height. But I'm working with a measurement here, so I have to label it. I have to label this one feet. So I have 82.58 feet is the height of this building. Alright, that's all I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you go out and have a spectacular day, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.